Hi guys, welcome to the My Monthly Hero Make Along. This is Kelly Taylor. I will be going first with my little tag project, and then Shannon will be joining us later with her wonderful little tag project. So I'm not normally a die cut person, but I was actually really excited about this kit because everything in there means that you could just make like endless amounts of little taggies, which I think is adorable. So I hope that you guys are having a good day and you're ready to make some crafts. I apologize for the hang up. That was me. I was having issues with my laptop. Um, but I think we're ready to start creating. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to my desktop and we'll go from there, okay? All right. So this is my cute little tag. I thought he was adorable. And I kept it relatively simple with the items that I chose because I wanted to do some kind of fun techniques that you can use on your tags, but you can also incorporate into, card making or, if you're a scrapbooker. I haven't scrapbooked in a long time, but if you are a scrapbooker, that would be something that that you could use this for as well. So I kind of pre-cut all of my pieces just because I have these little technique-y things. So we'll just run through that real quick, all of the little items. So I have my white tag, which is the main body of it, cut out of Dove White. And then I don't always cut extra, but oftentimes I will cut like one or two. This time I cut a lot of extra because I was scared because I was going to be on a live. I was frightened that I would mess up something while I was in the middle of a live. So those are out of our Kiwi, and then I have some pine branches cut out of pine. I know, right? The irony there. And then I have two little ribbons. And this, I'm only going to use one of them. This is just an extra guy. And this is cut out of coral. And then these little pine cones are cut out of woodland. They're adorable. These are so cute. Like you could stack them so many different ways. So these are super fun. Now, if you know me and you know the way that I create, I cannot leave anything alone. I can't leave anything just the way that it is. So we're going to do some extra things like some ink blending, and so we're going to add this snow and some berries just to give it a more wintry look, because maybe you want to use this tag for like a winter birthday versus for Christmas. Like it's pretty versatile, and I think that you can use it for a couple of different things. So, oh, Jennifer, you're die cutting this kit. Good for you, girl. It's so cute, and there's so many like little pieces parts. I even have, let me grab this other little cuppy here. Like I have, this is from when I was doing my actual card for the release. Like I cut all of mine out of white. And so I just have all these little guys in this little cup with um, just cut out of white so that way I could color them. I also have some dog hair in here because I have two dogs and it gets everywhere. So those are just like hanging out over here in case I'm working on another project and I'm like, oh, I could really use a snowflake or some adorable little mistletoe. And then I could just throw them in there. So the first thing that we're going to start with is the ink blending, and then I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So I'm just going to scoot these little guys over here and hope we don't lose any of them because I would be sad about it. And then for my ink blending, you can do any color you want. Blue's my boyfriend. We know this. I love the blue. So that is what I used here, just around the edges. So I'm going to be using Summer Sky for that and just do a little ink blending around the edges. You can go as far in as you would like. I just tried to pay attention to like the thickness of my little leaves, so that way you would still be able to see it on the inside. But if you wanted a mostly blue tag, you could do that. In fact, when we did the release for this kit, I did a navy blue tag. I cut it out of nautical because as I've told you. I love the blue. Oh, Essie, you have a whole pouch full of them? That's brilliant. Yeah, like if you just run them through and then you cut them all out, you just have them for whatever little pieces, parts, scene building, wreaths like that you want to make. It's such an excellent kit. Hi, Mindy. So just getting through all of that. And then normally I like to stamp my sentiment at the end, but the reason that I'm doing it at the beginning is because I have to attach my string before I start putting on all of my items. So in order to like just have everything done and build up on top of it, I'm just going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment in the beginning. There's a lot of really good ones in this kit, as I'm sure that you know. And then, but I chose the Sending Warm Wishes because it is not strictly Christmas. Like I wanted something that was going to be a little bit versatile, and I think that this is a good one. So let's see if I can do this without having to move them. Do you think I can? I don't think I can. I don't think I can, but we're going to give it a try nonetheless. We're just going to scooch it all around. You took your dog for a picture with Santa? Oh my gosh, I love that. I have never taken my girls for a picture with Santa. That's super cute. I didn't even know that was a thing. All right, there we go. We're centralized. And I dropped my magnet. But that's okay, because it's stuck to my other magnet. It's stuck to my other magnet. So I'm just going to stamp this in our pitch black ink, but again, like whatever color scheme you're going with. I very rarely stamp in a color that's not a neutral. And yes, I believe blue is a neutral, but you can totally stamp in whatever color you're feeling. Just going to stamp that down. Super nice. And then that's the only stamping I'm going to do. Can you guys believe it? Like, you know, I'd be stamping everything and fussy cutting it out and all that jazz. But this time I don't have to because the kit does it for me. So I have this, it's just gold thread. So I will be using that to feed through as soon as I find my scissors. Did you see this? I tried to open my scissors with the cover still on it. Woo, it's a day. It is a day. Oh man. We've been having, my husband is on call for work this week, and it's always a gamble. We never know how it's going to go, you know, whether or not he's going to get a ton of call-ins or none at all. And this weekend, he just got a ton. The reason he got a ton is because we had plans. So he was supposed to be home so that I could hang out with you guys and do this, but he ended up getting called in. And so my daughter, well, my son is with his dad, but my daughter is with my mama. So I ran her down there real quick. But he went into work last night at like 7 p.m., got home at midnight, and I'm not even kidding you. He sat on the couch for 5 minutes, and then his phone rang again that they had another situation. He had to, oh, you know what? I made the knot all the way up here, but that's a little long. I'm going to make it a little shorter. So yeah, so he got called in not long after he got home. So I'm feeling a little bad for him today. He's got a lot going on. We did manage to get our Christmas shopping done though, for the kids at least. Are you guys all done with your Christmas shopping? Like, are you completed? I'm nowhere near completed. So here I've got my little string attached, and now I can set this part aside. You could also do like some splatters, because you guys know I love the shimmer. So we have like the white iridescent shimmer. You could do splatters of this in the background and it would look like snow, and that would be super fun. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to stick with the hero pearls, because sometimes you got to know how many techniques to put into one little area. You're 80% done with shopping. I'm so impressed by you. Seriously, so impressed by you. So then the next ink blending that we're going to be doing, can we just talk about these for a second? These little small brushes. Like these little small brushes are like the cat's pajamas because I am a person who likes a lot of dimension. That's why I can't leave anything alone. I like a lot of dimension. And so because of the little teeny tiny brushes, like you can really just get in there and just add the shading. So cool. So for this one, I'm using our Forever Green because I chose the Kiwi cardstock and it's a more yellow green. But you could probably do this with like our pine color and that would also look super cute. But I'm just going to go, I'm going to ink up and then kind of buff it off. And then I'm just going to go right up the middle to add just a little bit more shading and make it just a little bit more interesting. Because we're going to be putting the pearls on here, like if you get some ink concentrated where you don't want it, don't worry about it. You can cover it up with a pearl later. That's the art of being the maker, is as long as you know the tricks to fix them, you don't have to worry about it. Melissa, you calligraphy wrote in every single one of your Christmas cards. Oh my gosh. Y'all, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm a card maker. I don't even send out Christmas cards. Like y'all got me feeling like I'm definitely dropping the ball. For you hand wrote them all. How many you send, girl? Like 5? I need to know, Melissa. I need you to answer my question back. Dorothy, yes, embellishments do cover all, for sure. You hand wrote in 50 plus cards. you, you're my hero. I'm very impressed by you, madam. That's a lot. Okay, so just going to keep moving right along, adding my shading to these. And again, it's not that the leaves aren't pretty by themselves. I just like a lot of dimension. So this is how I choose to add to it. Just to give it a little bit more variety, a little bit more of an interesting look. I'm still working on Christmas cards from 2021. You and me both. I like your attitude about it. So I do, like, I use the Christmas cards that I make, but I am a hand deliverer. Like, I don't mail them out. Only the people in my immediate family, or like if I do a Secret Santa at work, like people who are getting a gift from me, sometimes the gift is in the card. But those are the only ones that I give out. So I'm super, super impressed by all of you who are making your own Christmas cards and actually utilizing them. Very impressive work. So we're almost done with this. And you can add as much or as little as you would like. Whatever makes your heart happy. All right. So those are done. They have a little extra something. They've been jazzed up. They got a little pizzazz to them now. And then I'm just going to grab a baby wipe so I can wipe off my desk so that way I'm not trying to put inky fingers on the background of my tag. I'm not going to lie. I've definitely done that more than once. So the next thing is, and this is the only place we aren't using ink blending, is adding some shading to this bow. And it's just because I wanted more specific dimension added to it. And you just need a light and a dark red marker to add the shading. I'm going to go in with the dark first. And so like here, when you're looking at it, you can see that the die cuts right along here. So this is clearly the top of the bow, and this is the bottom of the bow. So I'm going to add some shading right here to the bottom of the bow, and that will push that top layer up. I'm also going to add some shading here. Like this line is indicating that it is like bent in. So I'm going to add a little shading there around my little bow knot here that ties them all together. Just going to do like a little C shape. And then I'll do the same thing over here for this line. And this one, this line is indicating that this ribbon is behind this bow. So I'm going to follow that as well. And then I will add some shading down this line to the center. I hope that makes sense. And then I'm going to go back in with my true red, and I'm going to go right over that shading that we just put down. This is going to lighten up that darker color just a little bit and give us some really good dimension. Just right over top, just kind of extending it out just a little teeny tiny bit. So then the color of the paper acts as our lightest color. If you don't, let me hold this up here. If you don't like the way that it is blending out, you can go in with an even lighter color and just go over it to help the whole thing blend better. But I don't have any issue with this. Like I'm happy with it. I know it looks super dark on the screen, but it's actually not that dark in real life. But that could be because maybe my light's not as good this time around. I don't know, but we're moving on. Gonna clean this up. So the next thing are these cute little pine cones. Now, you could totally go in and color them just like we did the ribbon and add some shading to them. But I wanted to do something different because I like shine. So in order to bring out the details of these dies, I'm actually going to use our Hero Wax. This is such a fun, like if you have not used this before, 5 stars, would recommend, because I have used this on so many projects and I've never actually used any of the product in the tin. I've only ever used product from the lid. Like this stuff is going to last me forever. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit with my finger. You can see it's not very much. I'm going to tap it off a little bit on the lid, or even less. And then I'm just going to apply it right over top of my little pine cones. And this dries. It's flexible, but it's hard. Like it's not going to go anywhere. But you can see, I'll hold it up in the light as soon as I'm done. Boop, boop, boop. You're such a cutie. Okay. So, like you have this one, and you can see all those detail lines because of the gold. And then this one where we have nothing on it yet, but I'm going to gold them all. But like just such a fun way to kind of bring out those details with really no effort at all. Like what did that take? 5 seconds? It did not take a long time. So I'm going to do the same thing with these 2 guys here. Yes, Cindy, it is wax. It's the Hero Wax, and it comes in a couple of different colors. Gold is my favorite. I'm not going to pretend like it's not, but it does come in a couple of different colors that you can use. And like once it dries, it's dry. It's not going anywhere. And it does not take very long for it to dry, because by the time I'm done doing the other things to my little pine needles, like these will be, well, they're actually dry right now. Like it's not coming off. So because I mean, I didn't use very much, and you don't need very much to get a super cool shine on them. So we're going to set those aside. And then this one's my favorite. This is the Adding the Snow. So if you have never heard of it before, we have this white puff embossing powder. And when you use it and you heat it, instead of like settling in and becoming really smooth and shiny, it puffs up. So it gives this really great dimension. So I'm going to use this to create snow on my pine needles and my pine cones. So if you're going to want a clear embossing for this. So I like to emboss, especially with like our unicorn pigment ink. I really like to emboss with white, but because you want to be able to clean off anything that you don't want, that's what the little, sorry, woo, that was loud. Because the little paintbrush is to clean off any areas where maybe we don't want it. But in order to get it on here, so I have my embossing thing, or my embossing ink, my embossing thing. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to press this in to the little tips, but then I'm going to take it at like an angle. I don't know if you can see this or not. I'm holding it like this. Okay. It's at a slight angle. And I'm just going to press just the tips into the embossing ink. And then I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Now, if you get crazy, if you drop it, if you get a bunch of ink anywhere that you really don't want that much snow, that's what the paintbrush is for. Because as long as you knock it off before you heat set it, you're going to be fine. So I'm going to grab my tweezers so I can hold this little guy. And then I'm just going to dip him right in. You could feel free to pour him over if you prefer. I didn't find that was necessary. So I just dipped him right in, shook off the excess, and there you can see it's really just on the tips. But again, if I had gotten it anywhere that I didn't want it, you'll see me do it with the pine cones, because with the pine cones, there isn't really a great way to, why don't I use an embossing pen? Allie, I don't own one. I'm going to be honest. I don't. An embossing pen would work great here, but I don't own one. So since I don't, this is the way that I do it. So now I'm just going to heat set this and we're just going to work our way through them. So now it's all nice and puffed up and looks like snow. Isn't that so cute? I thought it was adorable. So just going to work our way through these until we get everything all snowed up. It actually goes pretty fast. And this is something that's like super fun because you can add as much or as little as you want. Like if you're a little bit of snow person, great. If you're a lot of snow person, also great. I will tell you that I did, like, because I'm just dipping them in, I am getting the snow on my tweezers. I just waited for it to cool off and I was just able to use my fingernail to like scrape it off. I didn't have a problem getting it off of there, in case you were worried about that. Oh, Deb, are you behind? I'm always behind. It doesn't matter what it's for. If it's Christmas, if it's somebody's birthday, if we're hosting a dinner for some reason, I'm always behind. It's cool. It all shakes out in the end. So this one, like I got quite a bit of snow on. So I'm just going to go in. I don't mind it on the branches. That's fine. But I'm just going to go in with a clean, dry paintbrush and just knock it off my stem. That's the part that I don't want it on. And again, because we're using the clear embossing ink, Nobody's even going to know that any of that was there. And then if you want, like, you could take it and just run this across the top so the snow was only in certain spots so that it was a little more random. However you want to do it. I am going to wipe this off, though, so it doesn't heat on my glass mat. Cute, cute, cute. Last one. It can be whatever. What kind of snow are you experiencing, Allie? So far, we've only had it snow just a couple of times. So it's been mild so far, but I live in Ohio. So winter doesn't really it likes to be cold and yucky, but it doesn't like to really get started with the snow usually until December. I'm trying to heat this thing up and I ain't even got no embossing powder on it. What's even happening to me? That one's a little heavier, but I'm actually okay with it because it's mostly not on the center. All right. So now all our little branches are done. For the pine cones, you could do the same thing and you could just dip in the edges. But I wanted the snow to be across the center as well, because with a true pine cone, they're super dimensional. Like there's a lot of prongs with them. And so I wanted there to be some in the middle. So I'm just going to push the whole thing right into the embossing powder. And then I'm going to dunk the whole thing into my puff powder. So the whole thing is covered. And again, you could leave it however you wanted. I'm going to go in and just take out some of the middle so you can still see that gold. You can also take it off some of these sides. And it doesn't have to be perfect because, you know, snow doesn't fall perfectly on pine cones, but just enough that you can still see that super pretty gold underneath it. I'm going to take it over here and blow on it. So just until you're happy with the way that it's looking, the way your snow is laying. Again, depends on how much snow you want. So I'm pretty happy with the way that that looks. You can still see quite a bit of the gold, but there's enough snow that you can tell what it is. And then it puffs up super nice, and you can still see that gold shine in between. Like, totally adorable. Love these little puffy guys. And this is one of those technique that's like great because again, it's not just for Christmas. It's, you know, for winter. It snows all winter long, not just before Santa comes. So, well, Sherry, what's a sugar pine cone? I don't know that I've ever heard of that. And now I'm going to have to Google because I like to know all the things. Oh, Melissa, that's nice that you guys still have dinner together. We used to do Sunday dinners at my mom's. Um, Honestly, I would really like to get back to doing that. And spending time with my families on Sundays. That's super nice that you guys still do that. All right, so again, pretty happy with the way that that's looking. Gonna heat that one up. Would the puffy work on a watercolored card? I don't see why it wouldn't, Deb. I don't see any reason why it would not. And then this little guy, just tap him right in there. And then we'll be on to the building. Can you believe how fast I'm moving? Oh my gosh, normally my cards take like 2 hours. This tag is taking me no time at all. It's amazing. Gail, I'm sure that somebody can share the link for the PDF again. If not, I think it's on the Hero blog. And then for this one, I just did the same thing. Just removed it in random places, enough that you can see the gold, but also so it still looks like it has snow on it. I love these. I think they're so cute. All right, so now oh, did I bump you? I thought I bumped you. So now then we can move on to assembling this cute little tag. Now that we have all our little pieces parts done, and then once we're assembled, we'll get the berries put on. So I'm going to start with, since this is the base of my wreath, I'm going to start with that. Let me get this guy up here where he needs to be. And you could probably do these where they're like hanging over the edge just a little. That's how I like mine. But if you don't, you could definitely make a tighter circle. I picked 3 of them so that I knew I would have a little bit of room, a little wiggle room for them to kind of overlap and be a little bit more interesting. But you could get away with 2 of these, I think, if you didn't want them to overlap each other. And then see, putting that branch down, like almost completely covered that hole. So that's why we got to put the little hanger on first. Put this little guy on so that he overlaps his friend. I can hear my girls, my doggies, pacing outside the door. Like, Mom, what are you doing in there? What are we missing out on? They got some serious FOMO, my puppies. There you go, Deb. Put it on your Christmas list. I put a couple of craft things on my Christmas list too. I try not to put a ton on there, but I definitely have a couple of little items. So we'll do him about here. Just have him overlap. So like at this point, if you didn't want to do, like, the snow isn't for you, you could just put your little bow on and it would be adorable little wreath, like, for sure. But I liked having the little accent piece with the pine cones and stuff. It just gives it a little bit more, texture and makes it a little bit more interesting to look at. So that's how I got to where I was. If you wanted to give these as gifts, I when we did the release kit, I did a video showing how to give a card with a tag that was removable as a gift. So that's definitely something you could do with them as well. And then in the kit, they have the little to and from you could put on the back of the tag so that people could take it off your card and then reuse it. I thought that was a super fun idea. So here I'm just trying to get a layout for how I'm going to do this. And then my pine cones will meet in the middle. So then we'll have the little pine cones here, here, and then I'll tuck this little guy under here. Sometimes you gotta lay it out before you adhere it so you know what you're doing. And I think that I'm good with that. I think I can make that work. So let me scoot these out and then we'll do the little pine leaves. Pine branches. I don't think they're pine leaves. And for these, I'm really not concerned about the pine. I'm fine with it sticking up, like the little branch portion. So I'm just putting my adhesive just like straight down the center. So that way they can kind of stick up and again, just add to that, texture. These are so cute. Isn't it nice, like when you're making something and it comes out like the way that you envisioned it would? I love when that happens. It doesn't happen to me very often, but this little puffy embossing thing totally did work the way that I wanted it to. So stick this guy down. Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate you saying that it's cute. And then I'll tuck this one in here. So each one, like each side kind of sticks out a little bit and gives a little bit of balance. Hi, Sharon. Don't worry. Don't worry about being late, girl. I'm late to everything. Every single thing. Just ask my husband. He'll tell you. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to stick this one down, but I'm going to leave the end kind of up so that I can tuck in my little baby pine cone, my little wee pine cone. Tuck that like the little guy in right there. Thank you, Lori. And then the last little pine cone. And then again, there, like I said, there's so many options with this kit. You can do whatever it is that's striking your fancy at the time. But I like a shimmer and shine. I like the little, like the look of ornaments and things like that. So I chose to add some to my wreath. But this looks super cute just the way it is. Like you don't have to add them if you're not into it or if you feel like it's too much. But if you don't feel like it's too much, we're going to use some hero pearls to add some like little ornaments and baubles, or berries. You could use the white for berries. That would be super cute. I'm just going to grab a scrap piece of paper. When I'm using hero pearls, I like to kind of start them. Oh yeah, my husband does it all the time. Like what are you doing? We're supposed to leave in X. Like, dude, I can't help you. So I like to start these off the page just to make sure I get a good flow going. Like I know how much pressure I need. And like with this size, so I'm happy with that. See how my first two were bigger? I'm happy with this size for the ornament. And then I'm gonna start because I'm right-handed. I don't want to be taking my hand across wet pearls. So I'm gonna start on the left-hand side and then work my way this way. And you can just put them honestly anywhere you want in any kind of grouping you want. Here I'm going to do 3 little guys, and if they touch each other, that's fine, or you can leave them as single pearls, like whatever you're into. And it just makes the whole thing feel a little bit more festive. And then even in here where we have this greenery showing, like I want to get a cup, like whatever showing, they should have it so it has a consistent look. And then I'm going to go in with the gold. Oh, hi, Michelle. I didn't even see you sneak in there. Yeah, that's why you gotta, like, now when I go in with the gold, I'm gonna have to go from up top so I don't get crazy. Down here. So I didn't stick it in my card, but I did stick it in my practice. Isn't that so funny? Okay. These are so, like, they're so helpful because not only can you use them for things like this to create, like, the look of berries. So I'm pretty happy with the way that that looks. It's got lots of little interesting things, but I'm also going to use them to accent my sentiment. Because I stamped it in the center and we have the sending to offset it, I'm going to put some here and I'm going to put some here to just kind of even out my flow. So I'm going to do ones that are just like a little bit bigger, a little bit more pressure, and then a medium, and then a small. So that's my game plan for how they will go. And sometimes they don't go that way, but that's the game plan. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So we're going to do the large, the medium, and the small. And then down here, I'm going to do a medium and a small. So that way it just kind of fills in that gap nicely. You could certainly add more or less depending upon what you're into. But I feel like that's enough of a balance that it doesn't look weird when you are looking at my sentiment. And then that's it. That's the whole thing. So you can still see, I don't know if you can still see if I'm tilting it correctly. Like you can still see the gold underneath that pine cone. You could totally leave them gold and not, put all the snow on there. Oh, thank you, Deb. Or like I said, you can leave the little bubbles off your ornaments, whatever you're into. But super cool, very versatile kit. So yeah, so I think that is it for me. Do you guys have any questions before I go? I tried to answer them when I was going. No, I think we're good. All right. Well, let me flip back to my face so you can see me and I can say goodbye. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I had such fun creating with you. And then now I'm going to turn it over to Shannon, who's got another super cool, fun project for you using the same kit. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday and creating with Shannon.
Hi everyone, it's Shannon here. I hope you enjoyed that first tag. We're going to create another one. Kelly did a great, obviously kind of like a reef style with some of the really cute kind of sprigs and foliage dyes in that set. We're going to do something a little different. This is why I love this kit because it's so versatile. We are going to take or create a little scene. So this is what we're going to make today. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera away from my face or switch over to my other camera here. So just give me a minute and we'll get started. Oops. There you go. Oops. Okay. No. Does that work? There, can you guys hear me? Oh, there. Does that work? Okay, sorry about that. I think I got it finally. Well, let me switch over so I can make sure I'm seeing your comments. Sorry, guys. That was my fault. Sorry about the echo. But I think we've got it figured out now. Okay, good. Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry, I don't know. I always get it wrong every time I do it. I've done it many times, and I still get it wrong every time. So it's I'm a slow learner, I guess. Okay, so here's the tags we're gonna make. So like I was saying before, a little scene, and I was inspired by some vintage wrapping paper. So I've kind of picked some little untraditional colors. I mean, obviously the sky is this green cardstock versus a like blue or even a gray, but I think it's kind of fun. And I really like the look. I think it definitely has that kind of vintage feel. So I was really happy with how these turned out. All right, let's start by actually making the card base. So I'm gonna go a little rogue for my instructions. I think it would work just for this live, it'd work a little bit better if we start by making our tags. So we're gonna start by die cutting this base. And I'm gonna do a quick reminder here and jump over and remember what cardstock name I'm using because I forgot. Palm. So I'm gonna grab some palm cardstock and we're gonna die cut that first. If I can actually pick it up. There we go. I love this color. I love the kind of olive green cardstocks. There's another one, Pesto, Here Arts makes, and I love them so much. Do you guys have a favorite cardstock from Pure Arts? I like the greens. And then I think we were watching Laura Fedora in the recent one of her lives. I think it was for the stamp along. She talked about how much she loved Pesto cardstock. So I was like, oh yes. I agree with you, Laura. Oh, I guess I have to cut it if I'm gonna use my mini cutter. Will I fit through there? I think we're gonna be just make it. Well, let me cut this. Favorite is Nautical Blue. Periwinkle, yes. You know, I'm gonna just for ease, I'm gonna die cut this out of my bigger die cutting machine, but all the other things we're gonna use the mini for. So just grab this, just so I don't have to cut it. But my other scraps are just right for the compact cutter. I try not to use this one too much because it's so squeaky, so I'm sorry. Glitter cardstock. How could I forgot. I forgot about the glitter cardstock. That'd be great. Hello. Oh, thanks. Thank you. You saw I was published. Yes, it was so nice. They did an interview with me, Paper Crafter magazine. It was really, they did a good job. They asked a lot of really great questions, I thought, and they just did a really good job. But it's a UK kind of based magazine. Teal, yes, teal's always a beautiful one. Pesto, unlike the pesto. I like pesto. I love it. I love the greens. Okay, so I'm just push the cutter aside real quick. And we have our base here that I just die cut out of the palm. Now we're gonna do a little stamping. So I'm gonna grab my Misty. Pitch black, of course, Rosie, of course, pitch black, right? Yes, see, that's a great use of the mini cutter. You know, you can just take it with you. You can bring it to wherever you want to be because it's so compact. Okay, I'm gonna get this in here kind of centered and grab this stamp set. And I'm just gonna stamp Merry Christmas. Any of the sentiments would work from this set. I always do a good job on my speed, Gail. Thank you. I feel like I'm a bit Speedy Gonzalez. I always try to slow down, but I think I just kind of innately have nervous energy, and it comes out as me talking really fast and going really quick. All right, I'm gonna grab some anti-static powder. Now we are going to ink this up. Or I should say we're going to heat emboss this with a little bit different color. We're not just going to go with gold or, I'm sorry, all my clocks are going off. I forgot to turn them off. We're going to heat emboss with black embossing powder. If you've seen me do these lives before, you know that I really love this detail black. I use it a ton. I don't know what I did before I got black embossing powder. I love it so much. Let me get my embossing watermark ink. So I cleaned up, we had a party, a Christmas party on Friday, and I am a dining room crafter. I don't know if there's any other dining room crafters out there, but I had to completely put away all of my craft stuff, all of my card making stuff, so I could turn my dining room back into a dining room. And now I'm scrambling a bit. I keep realizing, oh yeah, I put that away. That's not out anymore. So I'm having to reset up my craft room again. Yay, more dining room crafters. Kitchen craft. Oh yeah, Mindy, I know you craft in the kitchen. Mindy, you're here. So I'm still kind of getting myself back in order. All right, so I just stamped in the embossing watermark ink. I'm going to pour over the black embossing powder. There we go. And then I'll heat set with my heat tool. So it's going to be a little noisy. Is Libby leaving? Bye, Libby. Enjoy your evening. So turn that on. Look at how great that looks. It looks so good. Love that black embossing powder. Just makes it look so classy and professional. All right, I'm gonna pour my powder back in. Yes, Barbara, I feel your pain. I feel your pain. And then I'll have to, so I'll have everything. I got everything back out, almost everything back out. I keep finding things here and there that I haven't pulled back out. And I'll get everything back out for maybe another 2 weeks, week and a half. And then I have to put it all away again because I have to have the table clean for wrapping. So it's going to be put away all again very soon. All right, I'm going to grab my dark green ink now. I am using Forever Green. I use this a ton. It's a really beautiful, dark, rich green. I can even show you a swatch if you want to see what it looks like swatched out. So here's that color right there. Super great. I use it a ton because it's going to provide tons of contrast. You're a floor wrapper, Mindy? I don't know why I don't like to wrap them. It would be so much easier if I wrapped presents on the floor, but I don't like to do it. I don't know why. It's because I know why, because I crease the paper. So I wrap with a knife. So I take a knife, I'll crease the paper, fold it over when I know it's the length that I want my section to be, and then I'll take the knife and just run it along the seam, that score line, and that is why I like to do on a table, because I like that hard surface. But I guess I could do it on the floor if I had a hard surface floor. So yeah, take that back. I probably could do it on the floor. Kitchen island. I can't get down on the floor anymore. Yep, I understand that. Some days I can't get down on the floor anymore. I'm getting back up. Yep. So we're just going to create a little gradation here. I'm going to ink blend at the bottom and get it a little bit lighter. We're going to add just a little contrast, a little bit of atmosphere to our scene. And it's basically kind of tone on tone. I could probably have even done just black ink, but I do like this green. I think it adds a little bit of richness because it isn't black, it's green, you know. All right, that's done. Oh, hi, Jennifer. Jennifer's here. All right, so I made a great mess right here. I'm gonna try to clean it up. It's gonna stain probably my work surface a little bit, but that's no big deal because the Ultra Clean will take care of it. So I'm not worried about it, but I'm just gonna do a quick wipe and then be done. So now it's time to add some snow. In my instructions, I said unicorn reinker. Today when I went through my reinkers, I realized I don't have a unicorn reinker. So I'm just going to use the ink pad, but either works. You can use the reinker if you have it. You can just use your ink pad. I'm going to grab my acetate grid, put it on the side here, and I'm just going to take my ink pad and actually push it down here just to get some of that ink out. There we go. And then I'm going to grab my spray bottle, put that to a side. I don't want to get my tag wet yet. Add a little bit of water, and then we'll mix that water and that ink together. I know, it's so cool to have Jennifer here. I always get so excited when I see her join anybody's live or watch any of her videos. It's always like, it's Jennifer. All right, so I mixed some of my water and ink together. You wrap on your pool table. It has a cover. I also use my Taut Tiffany turntable, so easy to rotate the package. Ooh, a Taut Tiffany turntable? Is that like for wrapping especially? I don't think anybody could be more of a hot mess than myself. Really, truly. All right, so I've got my ink and my water mixed up here. And before I actually start splattering this all over our tag, I'm going to make a quick mask because I don't, even though this is heat embossed and I could clean it up, but if I try to wipe it off any of the white ink, it would smear and make a mess. So we're going to just create a real quick mask. You could stamp if you wanted to that sentiment to make it a little bit easier. I don't think you even need to make it that fussy. You can just cut like a strip like that. Looks about right. I'm going to cut it just a tiny bit smaller. Let's do a little bit more. There we go. And that's just going to keep that sentiment clean while we, it's a turntable for my, oh, Impress. It makes it easy to die cut in small spaces. I now know what you're talking about, Deb. I've seen that before. That's a really, really good idea. I think I've seen Kathy use one of those and I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a brilliant design, especially if you have a tight space, which I kind of do. Well, at least where I want to put my die cutting machine. That would have been really handy. So just splattering the snow down or the ink down, just tapping, you know, loading my brush up with the watered down ink and then just tapping with my finger to release. And that's it. There's our snow. Yes, Kathy's amazing. She's so good. She's the queen of clean and simple design. And I love her products that she always designs. So, so good. Really clever. All right, and remove this with tweezers just to make sure I don't mess it up. But look at how now our sentiment was kept nice and clean. We have our beautiful snow. So now I'm just going to put this aside. Ooh, Rosie used white metallic ink. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Now I'm going to grab my chamois and just do a quick clean. And now we're going to grab the compact cutter and go to town and cut out a ton of little die cuts for our scene. So let me grab all the dies here. I just loaded them on this. Clearly don't fit. Like, the tremendous value in this kit is crazy. Look at all the dies. We're going to grab this snow drift die. All 3 pine trees. I almost called them palm trees. And then the 2 little houses. But you could add to the scene more if you wanted to. Oh, and the snowman. There are deer that would work. A little fox would work really well. Even some of the snowflakes. I mean, there's so much in this in this kit. All right, so I'm just pop these guys back on there. And let's start with the complicated guy, the snowman. So I'm gonna bring my, because I went a little rogue with him. I have to go decorate the tree. Oh, enjoy. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Enjoy, have fun. We decorated our tree earlier just because we had that Christmas party. So I wanted everything to be Christmassy. But that sounds super nice. Where did I put the white cardstock? Where did it go? It traveled. I don't know where it went, so I'm just gonna grab another little piece. I had everything all laid out and then it so quickly gets all crazy. All right, here's a little piece. We're gonna start by just die cutting the snowman out of, well, you went on a trip, so that makes sense. The trips kind of, as wonderful as they are, they do kind of throw your schedule out of whack a little bit. And there's no rush. There's no rush. We were anxious this year to get going, so we went a little earlier than we normally do. So I'm gonna line that up like so on the B plate. I should probably flip it over. We'll just go with it this way. What size envelope magnetic storage was that? Oh, Sandra, I'm not, let me see. Let's see if it says on here. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, Sandra. I'm sorry, I'm a dummy. I don't know. It's one of the Hero Art ones, but I'm not sure which one. It's almost past 10 there. Wow. Wow. It is 2 o'clock here in Arizona. All right, so I got my little snowman cut. Now we're gonna cut him out of some black cardstock. some pitch black. But all you need to cut out is his little hat. That's all you need. So if you want to just like grab a little bit like that, just cut like that. It's okay to cut a little bit more, but let's flip this around. I wish that the bag was labeled so then I would be able to tell you which one it was. All right. I'm always bad at Sandy. I always make plenty of cards to send out, but my big hiccup is I want to put in my cards a picture of my family, you know, from this year. And that is the thing that always sets me back is our picture. It's like, oh gosh, I can't mail the cards till I get the picture. And I always feel like I have plenty of time. Is the regular? Is it 5x7? Let's see. Must be. Yep, thank you. It is 5x7. All right, so now that I've cut his little hat or his little head out and everything, I'm going to just trim off right along, is that the brim of the hat? Of his top hat? Just top hat? There we go. Set that down. And you can go ahead and glue it if you want to, just so you don't lose it. Yeah, I guess this is going to be our last live before, well, this last make along before Christmas. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I have the hardest time stopping making Christmas cards. I'm sure everybody's like, you know, it's December, it's mid-December, you can move on to something else, but I love making them so much. So I think I have 2 videos coming up this week. Oh wait, only one of them is going to be Christmas, but I can't, I'm not ready to let go. Okay, now that we've glued his little hat on, let's draw his face. Good, Gail. I can't stop. I love making them so much. All right, and I'm gonna grab, so I have this Copic pack here. I think I got it from Amazon a million years ago. It's a multi-liner pack. You know who actually got me to get these was Kelly, because she uses them to, after she stamped her images, I would see her go back and after she Copic colored her images, I should say, she would go back and outline some of the black lines with a Copic liner like this. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. They're just basically more fine. And you can see there's different sizes. And we could use the smallest one here if we wanted to. It's so tiny. I mean, look at how tiny it is. Oh my gosh. They're really handy to have. Yes, that's what I'm thinking, Gail, is I'm going to make like, even I live in Arizona. Well, it does snow here, but I'm still going to, I think I can make like winter cards, right? That's okay. So I'm just drawing in the little eyes. And then I'm going to draw in a couple buttons. I'm going to grab my tag. Where are they? Just drawing some buttons. And it doesn't have to be this small of a marker. Like a fine Sharpie would work too. All right, so now we've got that done. Now we're going to go a little crazy and make a scarf for him. You can see the little scarf I have on this snowman here. And sorry, it's not focusing. There we go. That's actually one of the snowman's arms. And I cut off his arms just because of, again, I was inspired by vintage wrapping paper, and their snowman didn't have arms. So I was like, okay, let's try it. Let's see what it looks like with no arms. And I thought it looked okay. So it's just another look. I mean, you can leave his little arms on there if you want to, but I'm going to cut him off because it looks so cute. And then Yes, I've done that before where I've sent out cards for New Year. My Christmas cards turned into New Year cards because it took me so like I said before, to get that family photo. So that's a really good idea. I think it's really clever. It didn't occur to me till somebody else said something like that, and I was like, oh, that's so good. And I totally stole it. All right, so we're gonna grab some cranberry cardstock, this beautiful red. I'm gonna trim it down here, right in the middle. It's a little too big to go into the cutter. And then we are gonna cut the snowman again, but we just need his arm and some of his body because the arm's a little too short to go all the way through. You can cut the whole snowman out if you want. If you're a crazy paper, like to conserve your paper like I do, you'll cut like maybe half. That's really all you need. A little bit more than half of the snowman. You need to just get, actually you could probably cut like this too, but that's fine. We're just gonna do the upper, I guess, 2/3. Oh, blame on the mail system. That's a pretty good one. It's believable. All right, I got him cut out. There we are. And now I'm going to, look at those little tiny arms. They're so cute. I'm going to cut, I only need one of his arms. It doesn't really matter which one. I kind of feel like this one over here looks a little more scarf-like, whatever that means. So I'm gonna cut straight, like follow the line on his arm. Sorry, it's just not focusing. And cut, like, line my blade up with my scissor blade right up with that edge of the line and cut right on through his body. Oops. Then, let me hold it up so you can see. That's what we're left with. Now I'm just going to repeat that process. Kind of line it up the other side of the arm and cut right on through. And then you'll be left with this teeny tiny little red arm, which will now become a scarf. You couldn't just glue it behind. You could, but I want it across his, let's hold up a finished one. I wanted to go across his neck, but you could do it behind here if you wanted to. But that's what I wanted to kind of look like it's wrapped around his neck, like so. I hope that answered your question. Yeah, I'm making a little scarf, kind of changing things up. You could also just cut one if you just cut some red cardstock. You don't have to use a little arm. But I kind of like, you know, it has that die cut look where it looks a little bit different. It's a little rounded, a little beveled on the edge. So I try to, I can't hand cut anything like a die can cut something. So this, I think, makes it look a little bit more like it's meant to be done this way. So I just added a little bit of liquid glue. And I promise the snowman is the most fiddly thing on this tag. After him, it gets a lot easier. He's definitely the most fiddly. You can see it's hanging off on the other side here. I'm just going to trim that off. You don't even really totally have to. It kind of looks okay, but it doesn't really make sense, so I'm going to cut it off. There we go. And there's our little snowman. Oh, paper dolls. I've been a long time stamper. I've been stamping since, junior high. And I bought these stamps one time. It was a bears. And they had like a series of other stamps that go with it that you stamped for their clothes, but they were intended to be paper dolls. They even had the little tabs and everything where you fold over. And I thought they were so cool. I was like, oh, this is so neat. I love this idea. I do not remember who made those bears. It might have been Stamping Up. I mean, it was a long time ago. Okay, so now we're moving on to, we'll just put the little snowman aside and let's move on to our trees. They're pretty Well, okay, we'll do it in order of complication. Let's do the little houses now. We're gonna grab that cranberry cardstock again. Pop our little houses on here. I'm gonna do the plate this way, just kind of balance it out. And I'm just gonna start by die cutting them out of this cranberry cardstock. All right, there's our church and our little house. You do not need to worry about the windows and the doors right now. You can just pop those out and throw them away. But for the next little house and church we're going to cut out, you do need to worry about the windows. You got to try not to lose those. And in fact, before we die cut these, let's get these houses ready so we have a place to put them. I like to put a little piece of washi tape or this micropore tape behind the houses, so then where the windows, the openings on the windows and the doors is sticky. So when we inlay our pitch black windows and doors, they can stick in there nicely. We're ultimately going to glue this down to our snow drift, so you don't actually have to do this, but this way we don't lose them while we're constructing our scene. But if you're pretty confident you won't lose it, then you could just put them aside and not worry about it. I'm going to cut a little piece. There we go. And I think it's probably still too big. Put it behind. Oops. It's a little bit too big, so I'm just going to lift it up here and trim that last little bit off. It's so different to go from cards to tags. I've done art since I could hold a pencil. I feel you, Deb. I discovered card making out. Oh, how awesome. Card making. I kind of got away from card making when I got into high school and college, but then I got a Cricut for Christmas and I was like, oh, I want to play. What do I do with a Cricut? What can I make with a Cricut? And that's when I discovered card making again and stamping again, specifically, because I kind of got away from stamping and and haven't looked back since. Yep, I've definitely fallen deep, deep, deep down the rabbit hole. Yes, we're going, it's just really big, or at least bigger die cuts to these teeny tiny scaled die cuts. Okay, there we go. So I've got the tape behind here. And again, if this looks too fussy, you don't have to worry about it because you can just glue them in. Let me grab the tag. You can kind of glue them in. This one, you could just use the foam adhesive as the sticky backing to inlay the house. But for me, I lose things so quickly. I find it easier just to kind of get them in there, and then I don't have to worry about losing the little die cuts. All right, so now I'm going to die cut the church and the house out of pitch black. And again, we only need the windows and doors. So if you can line it up in a way to conserve your paper, by all means, go ahead and do that. But I think it's just going to work best for me to mostly die cut the whole thing out. There we go. Hello, Angie. Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoy working with the scale. That's awesome. They are tiny, but they're just so cute when it's done. I think it's rewarding in the end. And I really feel like you're playing because you're really building a scene. I don't know. To me, it really feels fun. All right. I've almost lost one of my windows here. So now I'm just going to start to inlay them. Oops, my husband is coming home. So if you hear some noise, that's him coming through the door. And if you're lucky, if it stays in the die cut, you can kind of line up your die and pop it in. Of course, I put in the window in the other opening. Another option would be to die cut, to kind of just grab some black cardstock and just adhere it to the back side. But I do think the inlaid look is pretty, and in my opinion worth a little extra effort. But if this is way too fiddly for you, that's another option. Okay, so I thought my little window or door was going to stay in place, but nope, it popped out as soon as I lifted it up. Okay, that. And then last, we have our little church window. He's being a little tricky. There we go. Okay, they're done. They're in. Let me hold up so you can see. So there's our little church and our little house. Okay, so we are church and house done, our snowman done. Now let's move on to our trees. We're on home stretch now. Let's grab our 3 pines. And we're gonna grab pine cardstock. And I'm gonna die cut the whole tree. We will cut off the star on this one, but we'll die cut it first and then we'll do that. All right. Run this through. There we go. And I don't do any blending to any of these die cuts. The most complicated one was the little snowman where we colored his eyes and buttons. But there's not going to be any other coloring, which is unusual for me. I usually ink blend. All right, and now I'm going to cut off the little star. So we're left with just the pine tree. And there's our 3 trees. Now the last thing we have to cut out now is the snow bank or drift. I don't think I have enough white cardstock on that one. All right, this is definitely enough. I love how this is all one die. I don't have to go and die cut the tag and then die cut a drift. I love how it's all in one die. Is this a better piece? Let's use this piece instead. Oops, sorry. All right. And then we're ready to put it all together. Yeah, I don't even use my Cricut anymore, to be honest. I know some crafters use both and use the scan and cut. I can see why the scan and cut would be handy. But I don't own one of those. And I don't even get out my Cricut ever anymore. So the thing that brought me into card making, I never use. It is seriously tucked way deep inside my cabinet, and it definitely has dust on it because I never use it. All right, let's grab all of our pieces. Let's move this out of the way. We got our trees, our houses, our buildings, and our little snowman and our snowbank. All right, I'm going to start by just adhering the largest pine tree, I keep wanting to call it a palm tree, to this high point here in this drift. Let me grab my glue. Add a little bit of liquid glue there. And add it about Let's see if it covers up the word. Maybe a tiny bit, so I'm gonna move it down. Oops. Check again. Okay, that looks good. Now we're gonna glue on our little church. So the top part of the church kind of hangs off, so we're gonna only add glue to the bottom. Yeah, I agree. I love dies. I've never used a scan and cut, but I love dies. I love the idea of the thing that really, I loved my Cricut. And then when they started making me have to go online to use the program, I'm telling you, that stopped me from using my Cricut so much. It was a big nuisance, I felt like. The more I can simplify, like take tech out of my crafting, like the happier I am, at least. All right, now we're just gonna start gluing down the other elements. Let's do this tree here. Just be careful to only put the glue kind of on the lower portion of your die cut, because most of them are gonna hang off a bit. This is a little different than this one, but that's fine. I'm kind of using this one. Should probably put it on camera so you can see. Let's do that lower quarter, lower third. Just building our sweet little winter scene here. Rosie. I should have sold mine to another crafter. I should have. I know, isn't it weird, Mindy? I don't understand why, but lives are, I don't know, they're a different beast, but the dang, I did not like having to go onto the Cricut like website and use their software. I just found it so cumbersome and annoying. I was old school and liked my cartridges where I popped in a cartridge and then I liked that. It was, I'm not even kidding. Like I seriously stopped using my Cricut once I had to go to their Cricut whatever website. Here we go. And then by that time too, I had also kind of really fell in love with die cutting. Erica, how are you? I own the first Cricut that only can use the cartridges. And I moved the machine to my table with the hopes of using it to make shaped card. Oh, okay. That's a good idea, Lori, to make shaped cards with your Cricut. I had to say several Cricuts since the first came out, and I still have Gail, I think I still have all of my cartridges too, because I can't throw anything away, even though I'll never ever use it again. Those babies cost a lot of money. And I can't get rid of them either. I use my expression so much more than going to design space. I still use both the expression and the maker regularly, which has its pros and cons. I don't have the maker, I have the expression, Cindy. Yeah. But again, like I said, I haven't even used it in so long. It was so easy to put a cartridge in. I loved the cartridge. And then I would get so excited when we'd like find a cartridge discounted somewhere, like where would we find them sometimes? Like Ross or TJ Maxx, and it was like, oh my gosh, look at this cartridge is only like $20 because they were very expensive. All right, we're just gonna add a little bit of foam adhesive to the backside of the church just to add some strength to it. And to the pine tree. Yep, they were super expensive. Had to get them when you found a good deal. I know. Gail, I hear you. I have about that same amount of cartridges too. I will admit, when I had the cartridges and then I had the, there was like a Cricut Genie. I loved that thing too. Which is a little bit, yes, Tuesday morning, Lori. Yes, yes, yes. Tuesday morning had them. And then I had the genie, which I know goes against my taking technology out of crafting, but I did love the Cricut genie too. I can't even remember what it did exactly. I think it kind of let you design a little bit. I can't even remember what it even let you do. All right, so I just stuck that down. Gypsy, that's what it is, Cindy. See, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. It's been so long. Jukebox. I didn't have the jukebox. I had the gypsy. All right, so now I'm going to finish my tag off. So I did this fancy, I don't know why it's lagging. Sorry, guys. I did this fancy ribbon on the tag because I thought it looked so pretty. Probably for real gift giving, though, I would only use the ribbon. I wouldn't make a bow. I would just use it to kind of tie it to a tag. But this would be pretty, though, on like a bag, you know, without it. You know, bags don't typically have bows. But just to show you what I did, because this is a small hole, but I'm sure you guys know, because you guys sound like avid crafters since you've all had Cricuts and you know way better what everything was called than I do. I just kind of rolled it up so it kind of made it small. Push it through. And it's definitely a tight squeeze, but I think this wide ribbon just looks so pretty. And I think it also adds to that vintage feel. I didn't put anything in the back, but you definitely could. I'm probably just going to handwrite to and from but it would, the stamp set also has to and from, so you could stamp it too. But you should probably do that before you add. I mean, it's still doable now, but it would have been easier to do that before you added the like dimensional scene part. Thanks, Cindy. I would not have gone with this color palette either. If it weren't for like kind of looking for inspiration with some vintage wrapping paper. Now, if you want to make the bow, I just wrapped around. I know you guys don't have the same ribbon, but this is all I did. Just kind of tied a knot. Okay, I didn't do that. I just wrapped it. I just made the bow around it is what I did. I'm remembering now. Isn't it funny that everybody has their own way of kind of like making bows, or at least I think they do. There we go. That's what I did. I just tied it around. That. There we go. And that completes our little tag. Super cute. So fun. Yeah, definitely. I always look up, I have a little collection of vintage, like 1940s, 1950s Christmas cards, and I love them. I cherish them so much, and I get a lot of like color inspiration from them because I just love that style. All right, I'm going to turn the camera to attempt to go to my face. Hopefully I don't make a super huge echo. Right, is there any echo? Yay, no echo. All right, thank you guys for joining us for the stamp along or make along. Oh my gosh, I'm getting it all wrong. I hope you're able to follow along and make some tags. Make Mindy's really beautiful. I loved all the details she added to her wreath. My lip looks red there. And then my little scene tag, which is super fun. And I will see you guys in the next, hopefully the next make along with the December kit, which was, Libby said there's a couple left of the December kit. So definitely, if you haven't checked those out, check it out. It's a really gorgeous kit. It's all kind of celestial themed. And there was some really great inspiration from the design team with this kit. Thank you so much, and I will see you at the next live. Bye, everyone.